What if some of the most familiar faces in Hollywood have been living stories you never knew existed? For many viewers, it's easy to miss the deeper journeys behind fame, especially when only the surface is shown. This video reveals powerful transformations, showing how these celebrities reshaped their lives, identities, and public images over time. Stories that may challenge what you thought you knew. Stay with us to discover shocking then and now moments, and one unforgettable reveal at the end. Bancho tôi biết, cảm nhận ngôi sao của bạn là người nổi tiếng như thế nào, và đừng quên bình luận ngay dưới video. Chanel West Coast has long been a recognizable figure in American entertainment, known for her lively personality, quick wit, and distinctive voice. In recent years, however, she became the subject of one of the internet's more unusual rumors. Online speculation began circulating that she was actually Lee Norris, the actor best known for playing Stuart Minkus on the 1990s sitcom Boy Meets World. The theory gained traction because of a perceived facial resemblance, despite having no factual basis whatsoever. In reality, the two share nothing beyond a coincidental similarity in appearance. Lee Norris continued to build a steady career in television and film well into adulthood, while Chanel West Coast carved out her own path through reality television, music, and business ventures. Their backgrounds, careers, and personal lives are entirely separate. Still, the rumors spread rapidly across social media, confusing some fans and even leading a few to believe Norris had disappeared from the public eye. Rather than responding with frustration, Chanel addressed the situation with calm and clarity. She emphasized the importance of accuracy and respect, especially when rumors touch on sensitive topics like identity, gender, or personal history. She reminded audiences that such subjects should never be treated as jokes or casual online entertainment. Despite the ongoing chatter, Chanel has remained focused on her work. From her breakout role on Rob Dyrdek's Fantasy Factory to her continued efforts in music and entrepreneurship, she has demonstrated resilience in the face of misinformation. Her response offers a valuable lesson in today's digital world. Dignity, honesty, and empathy often speak louder than outrage. Elliot Page's journey did not begin with a headline or a carefully staged announcement. It unfolded quietly over many years, through moments of discomfort, deep self-reflection, and emotional struggle. Long before speaking publicly, he carried a persistent awareness that his body and public identity did not fully align with who he truly was. Even as his career flourished in Hollywood, that inner conflict remained unresolved. For much of his life, he navigated this struggle in silence. The pressure to meet industry expectations made honesty feel risky and uncertain. Gender dysphoria affected not only his sense of identity, but also his mental and emotional well-being. Living as a version of himself that felt incomplete became increasingly exhausting. Over time, the weight of hiding the truth grew heavier than the fear of revealing it. In December 2020, Elliot chose to live openly, sharing that he is transgender in a heartfelt and deeply personal statement. This moment marked not a sudden transformation, but the continuation of a long journey toward self-acceptance. For him, transitioning was not about becoming someone new. It was about finally living as the person he had always been. Since then, he has spoken about the clarity and peace that come with authenticity. His work on the Umbrella Academy, where his character Victor also transitions on screen, offered rare and meaningful representation. Through his story, Elliot continues to inspire others, reminding audiences that honesty, courage, and self-acceptance are enduring strengths. Caitlyn Jenner's transition was not the result of a sudden impulse or a brief moment of courage. It was the outcome of a lifelong internal struggle shaped by silence, discipline, and emotional restraint. Long before the world knew her as Caitlyn, Bruce Jenner carried a quiet awareness that her outward identity did not reflect her inner truth. Growing up in mid-20th century America, there was little language or understanding to describe gender dysphoria, so those feelings were carefully hidden for decades. For much of her life, she chose responsibility over personal freedom. Marriage, fatherhood, and extraordinary athletic success, including winning gold at the 1976 Summer Olympics, provided structure and purpose, but they did not resolve the deeper conflict within. In the late 1980s, she privately explored transitioning and briefly began hormone therapy. However, fearing the impact on her family and career, she stepped back, prioritizing stability over self-expression. Though this preserved her public image, the emotional burden continued to grow. By her early 60s, living in denial had become unbearable. Transitioning was no longer just about identity, it became essential for emotional survival and inner peace. In 2015, at age 65, Caitlyn publicly came out in one of the most visible transitions in modern history, including her widely discussed interview with Diane Sawyer. Her introduction to the world was more than a media moment. It was a powerful declaration of long-delayed truth. Her story reminds us that living authentically has no expiration date. Courage can emerge at any stage of life, bringing dignity, renewal, and a sense of true freedom. Fallon Fox occupies a complex and often debated place in modern sports history. Her journey has never been only about competition inside the cage, but also about identity, fairness, and how society responds when long-standing traditions are challenged. Growing up in Ohio, she experienced discomfort with her assigned gender from an early age. At a time when conversations about gender identity were limited and often misunderstood, she learned to keep those struggles private. When she eventually shared her truth with family, the response was painful and lacked support, deepening her sense of isolation. As an adult, Fallon made the difficult decision to transition, believing it was essential for her emotional well-being and personal integrity. After transitioning, she pursued a professional career in mixed martial arts, MMA. In 2013, she became the first openly transgender woman to compete in professional MMA, a milestone that quickly sparked national and international debate. Supporters viewed her as a symbol of inclusion and progress, while critics raised concerns about competitive fairness in a physically demanding sport. Perhaps the greatest challenge she faced was the shift in public perception. Once recognized primarily for her athletic ability, Fallon increasingly found her identity overshadowing her performance. Despite this, she continued to compete with determination and resilience. Her legacy extends beyond wins and losses, encouraging sports organizations, athletes, and fans to engage in thoughtful conversations about inclusion, policy, and fairness. Chaz Bono's transition unfolded gradually, shaped by years of quiet reflection, emotional struggle, and the unique pressure of growing up in the public eye as the child of Sonny Bono and Cher. Born in 1969 as Chastity Bono, he spent much of his early life feeling disconnected from the identity others expected him to accept. Though raised as a girl, he sensed from a young age that something fundamental did not align, a realization that brought confusion rather than clarity. For many years, Chaz tried to meet social and family expectations, hoping conformity might ease his discomfort. Fame only intensified the pressure to appear composed, even as the internal strain grew heavier. Acknowledging that living as a woman was no longer sustainable required deep honesty and the courage to face possible rejection. In his early 40s, around 2008 to 2010, Chaz began his transition, a thoughtful and demanding process involving medical care, emotional growth, and social adjustment. Hormone therapy and surgery were not pursued for dramatic change, but to achieve inner peace and personal alignment, allowing his outward life to reflect his inner truth. His transition also reshaped his relationship with his mother. Cher openly spoke about her initial difficulty while consistently affirming her unconditional love. Over time, uncertainty gave way to understanding. Today, Chaz Bono is respected for his advocacy, media work, and role in raising awareness about transgender experiences during a time when public understanding was still evolving. Andrea Pejich was known to the fashion world long before her transition, originally rising to prominence as Andre Pejich, an androgynous model whose striking look challenged traditional standards of beauty. From the beginning, she stood out for her elegance, versatility, and rare ability to move seamlessly between men's and women's runways. Born in Bosnia and Herzegovina and later raised in Australia after her family fled war, Andrea grew up with a quiet sense of disconnect from the gender role assigned to her. Even as a child, she felt drawn to femininity, despite lacking the language to fully understand those feelings. As her modeling career gained international recognition, her internal conflict deepened. Professional success brought admiration and visibility, but it could not silence the sense that she was only living part of her truth. For years, she carefully weighed the risks of transitioning. In an industry where image defines opportunity, the fear of losing career stability and public acceptance was very real. Yet over time, authenticity became more important than comfort. In 2014, Andrea began her transition, a process requiring emotional strength, medical support, and personal courage. What followed surprised many. Rather than fading from the spotlight, her career entered a new and even more powerful phase. In 2017, she made history as the first openly transgender model to appear on the cover of GQ Portugal. Her transition did not limit her success. It strengthened it. Today, her story reflects resilience, self-acceptance, and the quiet courage to choose truth over fear. Carmen Carrera first gained national attention as a contestant on Season 3 of RuPaul's Drag Race. At the time, she was known as a confident and captivating drag performer, admired for her beauty, discipline, and commanding stage presence. While the show introduced her to a wide audience, it also marked the beginning of a far more personal journey. After leaving the competition, Carmen made the courageous decision to transition and live openly as a transgender woman. This choice required emotional strength and persistence, especially in the face of public misunderstanding. Many viewers struggled to distinguish between drag performance and gender identity, leading to skepticism and unfair assumptions. Despite this, Carmen remained committed to living authentically, believing that honesty matters more than approval. Her transition also led her into advocacy. A defining moment came when she publicly challenged language she felt was harmful to transgender women, including comments made by RuPaul. Although her stance sparked controversy, Carmen stood firm, emphasizing that respect and dignity should never be compromised. For her, speaking out was an act of self-respect, not rebellion. At the same time, her professional career continued to grow. Carmen successfully entered the world of high-fashion modeling, appearing in major publications and walking international runways. Over time, she demonstrated grace and maturity, choosing understanding over resentment. Today, her story reflects courage, growth, and the enduring strength found in self-acceptance. Laverne Cox first captured national attention through her powerful role as Sophia Bursay in the Netflix series Orange is the New Black. With a performance marked by warmth, authenticity, and quiet strength, she introduced millions of viewers to a deeply human perspective on transgender life. For many American families, especially those unfamiliar with such experiences, Sophia became a meaningful first window into the challenges, hopes, and dignity of transgender individuals. Her work quickly made television history. In 2014, Laverne became the first openly transgender person nominated for a Primetime Emmy Award in an acting category, marking a significant milestone for representation in mainstream media. That same year, she appeared on the cover of Time, which described the cultural moment as the transgender tipping point. These achievements reflected a broader shift in public awareness and acceptance. A particularly meaningful detail added depth to her performance. Her identical twin brother, M. Lamar, portrayed Sophia before transition in flashback scenes, bringing emotional authenticity and continuity to the character's story. Beyond acting, Cox has become one of the most visible advocates for transgender understanding in the United States. Through public speaking, documentaries, and interviews, she has encouraged empathy and respect across generations. Today, she is remembered not only as a talented performer, but also as a voice that helped many people better understand transgender lives with compassion and clarity. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any new videos. See you in the next one.